Welcome to MacroCode. If you're new to this channel, consider subscribing. So today we are going to start our new series. That is, we are going to continue with our new series on .NET MAUI. So this is episode 3 of .NET MAUI series, and for those who are new to this channel, consider watching our previous videos. So today we are going to do a linkage between our mobile app, that is a student's app, with SQLite database. So we're going to see how we can link our mobile app with our SQLite database. To begin with, I want us to do some quick items. One, I want us to install some nuggets. So right click on our dependencies, then manage nuggets. So we want us to install these nuggets. So the common one is actually SQLite net. So we need to install SQLite net. So let's install this. Then you'll also need to install SQLite net PCL. So install also this one. So let's see. So you can actually confirm on dependencies whether we have, so let's apply, whether we have our nuggets and Android, then packages. You can actually confirm the nuggets that you've installed. These are the two. So another one that I want us to install is the SQLite PCL raw core. So we can do SQLite PCL. That is it. So you can install this. You can also install SQLite PCL raw provider. So let's just move down and see if it's there. Provider dynamic, this one. Can install that. Then you can also install provider SQLite. So let's see if we can see it here. So we need SQLite raw, PCL raw, then .provider. So this should be raw, sorry. Provider, then SQLite 3. So let's see. Should be SQLite provider, then .SQLite 3. Let's see if we have such nugget. Yes, this is what I want. So install that as well. So we'll also want us to install SQLite PCL raw bundle. So you can have here bundle, then green, this one. So you can also install that. So let's see. So you can confirm on this other side, we have our nuggets installed, as you can see. So those are the common nuggets that you want. Apply. So you can see these are the common one. So the next thing that I want us to do, let's create a folder called helpers. So on this folder, I want us to create a class called constants, which will actually contain our local database file name, and we'll have all the things that we'll want to be using on our connection. So we can call it constants. So after we've done that, so this is our class. So public constants. So on these constants, I want us to define some very important things on this class called constants. One is I want us to define the database name. So we can actually define the database name, and we can also define some key items. We'll be able to see these when we will be connecting with our API. So we'll be having all our links here. So we'll be defining some of the links here. So on this file, I want us to define a name. So we can call this public static class file name. Then we can do public constant, then a string. Then you can say local db file. So our local db file will be, we can name the db file. So we can call these students.db3. So that is our extension. So if we do that, then we can have that. So the next thing that we need to do, we need to create a connection. So I want us to create a connection here called application db context. So that is our database application db context. So once we create the application db context, I want us to say public. Then we can have a constructor. So this will be our constructor. So the constructor we can do, so I want us to now have our namespace. So we can define our namespace here. We can say private. So we can say private read only string. Then so this should be string. Then we can say namespace. Then we can do our namespace will be, so to get the namespace of our app, we need to do, so it will be students. So we can actually check on the properties. We just edit the project. So this will be our students app. So we can call these students app dot. So the namespace will be students app. Then you can say dot helpers. Then dot. So that will be our namespace. So this is where we are. So this is our namespace here. So what's wrong here? So you should say namespace. So these actually should be inside here. Sorry, this should be here. So this is our namespace. So the next thing that I want us to do is to define our connection just below the namespace. So you can say private SQLite connection. So you say SQLite async connection. Then you can say you can give it the database. So this will be our database. So inside here, so we can say public application db context. That's fine. So we can say if database is equals to null, or we can say is not null, then we can say return. So else we need to define our connection. So you'll say connection database, equals to new, then SQLite async. So we need to pass some things here. So first is we need to pass our database a path. So our database path. So our database path. When we come to constants, we define the local DB file name. So this is our file name. So we can call this database. Let's just call it database file name. So that is our database file name. Then we can also have our can take this, we define it on our constants here. So we can call this namespace. So we can rename it here. Then we can call this namespace. So we can have that as namespace. Then the next thing that I want us to do is on this, we need to define something here, public constant. Then we say SQLite dot SQLite options, SQLite flag options. Then we call these flags equals to. So we need to say SQLite. So open the database in read. We need to open the database in read and write mode. So we'll call this SQLite flag dot read write. Then do that. Then you can also open SQLite dot SQLite open flags. Then we need to create, can be able to create it. Then we also need to cache. So we'll say SQLite dot. So this will be SQLite. So here we'll have SQLite option flags dot shared cache. So then we close this. So we'll have these flags. So our complete database path, we need to define it here. So we'll say public static string. So database path will be equals to path dot combine. So we need to combine the database. So here we'll do and say file system dot app directory. Then we have the database file name. So that is our complete path. So after that, we need to come now to our application DB context. So in our application DB context, our connection here should be constants dot database path. So we are getting it from constant. Then we need to pass in the constants dot flags. So that is it. So we have actually connected now these to our database. So the next thing that we need to do is I want us to create a models folder. So let's create a model folder. So we call these this, we need to create a folder here called models. So we need to create these and say this is students. So we need to create students class. So I'll create that as student. Then I can say public. So here I need to provide some fields. So here I'll actually say, so this will be our primary key. So we'll say primary key, and we want this to be auto-incremental. So we'll do that, and should actually be unique. So I'll say unique. So that is it. So the next thing that we need to do is we need to specify some other fields. So we'll say first name. So we'll also do string. and we say middle name. Then you can also do last name. You can also do email address. You can also do phone number. You can also do address. You can also do gender. You can also do course. You can also do another thing, we can say year of study. So these are some of the fields that we have on our model. So the next thing that we need is we need to create this database. So how do you create it? So we'll come to our application DB context. Then after doing the connection, so you can say database dot create table async. Then we pass our model. So we say student model. Then we can actually have these as weight. So you can have these as weight. So you can do here dot weight. So you can do that. So that is how you create a table. So to effect this database creation, we need to create these once we just launch our app. So when you just launch your app, you need to call this class so that our database is created. So how do we do that? Come to our app.xaml. Then here we need to specify our application DB context. So we'll say public, then static. So we'll say static. Then we say application DB context. This is actually our database. So we'll say this database. Then we can do that. So once we do that, we need to call this. So we need to initiate this. So we'll say database is equals to new application DB context. So once we just launch our app, this will be called and our database will be created. So in case you made any modifications on the database, this will be done. So let's just put in a breakpoint here so that we see what happens when we just launch our app. So if we just launch our app, we'll be able to see what happens. So if you're new to this channel, consider subscribing and watching some of our previous videos. So this is episode 3 of .NET MAUI series. So we are connecting these to SQLite database. So this is our first series. So we'll be able to see how we can actually share this data through our API to the server and do some manipulations to the data. So keep watching the videos, like the video, subscribe, and let's proceed with this series. So let's see how the app will behave. So trying to launch this, we see it will create our database called student. So our database file name is students db3. This is our namespace. So there we are. It's almost. Let's see what will happen. I have a breakpoint here. So there we are. So let's see if we will hit our breakpoint. There you are, you can see. So our database connection is null. So this is null. So it will jump and establish the connection. So our file path, you can see it is data user students app files, then students.db3 is our file name, then we have all our flags. So if we proceed, you can see our connection is now well established, and I think I don't know if it will create or will have an error. Yeah, so we can see we have one or more errors occur. The type initializer threw an exception. So let's see what is the issue. So let's just update some of our nuggets. I want us to update some of the nuggets that we have. So we can have SQLite net PCL. I'm doing 1.8.116, then SQLite raw bundle green 2.10, core 2.10, SQLite provider. So these are the nuggets that I've actually re-updated. So you can actually re-update or downgrade this to these versions. So for now, let's build and see what happens to our app. So the challenge you are getting is because of these nuggets. So we have our application DB context. We also have our constants. So this is our constants. So let's see what happens. So if we run this, we should be able to have our database created and our table created. That is the student table. So let's see what happens. So for those who are new to this channel, consider subscribing. So this is episode 3 of our .NET app. So we are connecting this to SQLite. So these are the main important nuggets that we require for SQLite connection. So our app is launching. So there we are. You can see we have null there. So if we proceed, our database has been created. So this is the path. And we have, as you can see, our table now has been created. So we have our students table. So as you can see, we have two mappings. And these are the tables. So we have the table name called student. We have another one. So we have a table called students that has been created to our database. So you can see you can now select these stuff from our table and you can configure anything there. So I think that is more about connection to SQLite. So the next thing that I want us to do is define some of the functions here, assuming we want to retrieve some data from the database. So for students, we can do, so we'll actually be doing public. So this is on our next video. So you can retrieve a list of students, get all students, and we can do var, so you can say variable. This will be equal to our database dot table. Then we can pass our students table, then we are able to get these lists. So we can have this to list. So that is it. Then we can actually return. So this is it. Then we can return. We can return this. So we'll be having this. So you can say this is async. Then we are going to return the list. So let's see what is the issue here. So this is our connection. So we can say return async. And just to return this, you can have this to list. To list. So this is table. Then we should be able to can say sync. Can have this as a weight. Then we can return. So we'll say this is task. Then we can do that. So we should be able to return a list of students. So this is how we will be doing it. So for a function to insert, for a function to insert, you can actually do public int. Then you can say insert students. for student. Then we pass in the model. So we'll say student, that is it. Then we can do return. So we'll be able to do return db connection dot insert async. Then we'll do the model. So we can actually pass in the object here. So that is it. So here we are returning. So here we'll say async. Then you can say task. So we'll do that. Then you can do here await. So if we do that, we are able to. So we are able to use this on now, inserting students to our table. But you can. So we'll actually redo this and actually provide a way that we cannot be passing students alone, because we'll be reusing these functions. So that is majorly how to do DB connection, that is SQLite with our MAUI app. So if you're new to this channel, consider subscribing, and see you on our next video now on actually doing a complete CRUD operation. Bye, and see you on our next video.